Thank you, Senator Jansen. You've heard the opening to LB 167. We'll now move to Revenue Committee Amendment, Amendment 31. Senator Jansen, you're recognized to open on committee amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Lieutenant Governor. I have explained those, but I'll go through them again. The committee amendments strike Section 9, which would have allowed the Turk to set guideline standards or criteria for intercity equalization, which would not have gone through the rules and reg procedure. And it also restores the acceptable range for the recapture value on land subject to special appeals or green belting to 60 to 75%. This policy is actually changed by the committee amendments in LB 166. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Jansen. You've heard the committee amendment, AM 31. Senator Jansen, you're now recognized to open on Amendment 67.
I've already opened on that. If you want me to do it again, I certainly will. It strikes Section 9, which would allow the Turk to set guidelines, standards, criteria for intercity equalization, would not have gone through the regular rule and regulation process. It also restores the acceptable range for the recapture value of land subject to special appeal, green belting, from 60 to 75%. This change is actually done by a committee amendment, which is 166.
Thank you, Senator Jansen. We are on the committee amendment, which is Amendment 31. So you have heard the opening on that. We are discussing the committee amendment. Senator Chambers, you're recognized.
Mr. President, members of the legislature, I have to ask Senator Jansen a question or two so that I can understand what is at stake here, if he will yield.
Senator Jansen, would you yield?
Senator Jansen, if I heard you correctly, you said that this bill will reverse 2 court decisions.
That's correct.
Which court handed down those decisions?
Okay. The first one was the County District Court, and the second one was the Supreme Court.
Were both decisions dealing with the same matter? In other words, was the District Court decision appealed to the Nebraska Supreme Court?
No.
The second decision had been handed down in a lower court and was appealed to the Supreme Court. Is that correct?
It was appealed by Turk. Is that correct? I'm sure that's correct. Yes. It was appealed by the
Senator Jansen, why was not the first decision that was handed down by the District Court appealed if it was one that hindered what Turk thought it ought to be doing?
Because it was settled by the parties involved.
What was the subject matter of that suit, and what was the settlement?
What, the first issue, Senator?
Yes.
It was the dispute over the valuation of property.
And what was the nature of the dispute? Who were the parties, first of all? I don't need to know their names. Was there a property owner? Say it again.
The county board and the property owner.
And what role did Turk have to play in this decision, if it was between a county board and a property owner?
There was none. That's why the problem arose. There was no involvement of the Turk board.
So that decision,
in that process.
That decision did not in any way limit the ability of Turk to achieve what it considered just outcomes. Is that true?
Well, yes, it does.
It does hinder the ability of Turk?
Sure.
How did it do that? Let me ask a question as clearly as I can ask it. When the settlement was reached, did the property owner come out a winner?
Well, I have no idea, but I would imagine not. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been a decision to go to the Turk.
What was going on in that case which led the court to render a decision that would have been harmful to what Turk wanted to do? Let me ask the question a different way. That decision that I'm discussing now
With the county
was
board.
in fact handed down by a district court, and after that decision was handed down, the county board and the property owner entered negotiations which led to a settlement. Is that true?
That's my understanding, Senator Chambers, yes.
What about the decision that the county board, that the court handed down, would interfere with what Turk was doing? Was that decision in favor of the property owner, in other words?
1 minute.
Okay, then the decision that is rendered, then the appeal goes to the Turk board.
So the court rendered a decision, and you appealed that court decision not to a higher court but to Turk, and the Turk can overrule a court?
No.
So why would a court decision be appealed to Turk?
Well, the counsel said it wouldn't be, Senator.
I thought I heard you say that the appeal would go to Turk, so maybe I misheard. Let me back up.
The appeal should have gone to the Turk board.
But it went to the district court.
Yes.
And did the court say in its decision that the matter was not within the court's jurisdiction because the appeal should have gone to Turk?
They did not say that. But if we pass this bill, that's what would have happened.
Your time continues, Senator Chambers.
Would happen.
Thank you, President. What I'm trying to find out, I know that the Revenue Committee deals with some arcane matters which only a few people understand, so I don't think my language fits into the category of being arcane. It's probably too simple, and that's why it's not being understood, but I'm going to press on to try to figure out what is being dealt with here in this bill. A property owner and the county board had a dispute. The dispute went to the district court. The court handed down a decision. Did that decision favor the property owner?
I really don't know, Senator.
But the property owner and the
Apparently
county
not.
board, after that decision, decided to talk to each other and resolve the matter. Is that right?
Apparently.
If the county board had won, why would the county board negotiate with a disgruntled property owner? So maybe the county board didn't win?
Eventually, the county board didn't win.
And you want to reverse what that district court decided?
No, we want to clarify that so that they will be able to go to the Turk board.
My
The Turk board
problem-
make that decision.
One of my problems, Senator Jansen, is that I'm a very slow reader, and rather than reading clumps of words, I read a word at the time. And I'm looking at the statement of intent, and it says in its second sentence, among the new issues in this bill are two provisions to reduce the outcomes of two court decisions that have limited the ability of the Turk to achieve what it considers just outcomes. Before I get to Turk's ability and the outcomes, I want to find out what those two decisions said. And I'm working still on the first one, which is the district court decision. Can you tell me what the decision in that case was now?
Okay. All right.
Can I make some noise so if people are watching this, they won't think that I've lost my way and am just at sea?
That's a lot for me to grasp just from here to there, Senator. But the county board, the district court reversed the county, they sustained the decision that was rendered.
By whom? By the county board?
By the county board.
Okay. And the property owner chose not to appeal it. Is that true?
That would be correct.
So if the district court sustained the county board, why do you want to reverse that decision? But here's what I'll ask first. Was the decision by the county board one that interfered with what Turk would decide or want to decide?
Not by the county board.
Well, by whom? Who wants to reverse these two decisions?
The Turk would like to retain their jurisdiction over these matters.
And the county board was involved with the property owner, and when that decision was handed down by a district court, the court's decision was of such a nature that Turk felt that the decision hampered Turk in what Turk wanted to do. Is that true?
The result doesn't matter, but it was the action. Okay, it was a Turk's jurisdiction that was violated by that action.
Did the court render a decision which Turk construed as a violation of its jurisdiction?
Continuing time,
yes.
Senator Chambers, this is your third time.
Yes, he did.
So, Turk now wants us to change a decision handed down by a court which was interpreting the existing law at the time that decision was handed down. Is that true?
It's just a clarification of the decision.
Well, if we're reversing the decision, we're not clarifying anything. We are undoing what the decision said and apparently putting something else in the law which was not there at the time the decision came down. Or we're taking something out of the law which was there at the time the decision came down. Are we pulling a tooth, or are we putting a bridge where a tooth used to be? Are we extracting or adding, in other words?
Well, yes,
yes
we
no?
are. Yes, we are.
Okay.
We're
Yes,
clarifying.
we are. Which one?
We're clarifying what the Turk boards, what their duties are, and the decisions that are rendered by the Turk board.
I'm going to continue, but I'm going to have to offer amendments or something because my time is running out. But I have to ask you this now.
Well, I can push my light on. We can continue
What decision was handed down by the Nebraska Supreme Court that you want us to reverse? What was involved in that case? Because I sure don't understand the district court thing we've been talking about. That's probably why I'm not on the Revenue Committee.
Okay. It was called the Harrison Square, and that would give the Turk jurisdiction over the decisions that were made by the county board.
That's what the Nebraska Supreme Court had ruled?
Yes.
And Turk doesn't believe that Turk should have that jurisdiction over county board decisions. Is that true?
No, that's right. That's not right.
Okay. The court said, what did the court say again? Did the court say that Turk would have jurisdiction to reverse decisions by the county board?
The Turk's decision had to be done with what was brought before the county board.
And the Turk wants to go beyond what is presented to the county board. Is that true?
No. No. No.
So they're satisfied to be
Yes.
bound by what is presented to the county board.
Yes.
Then why do they want to reverse a decision which said that?
Oh, you repeat that?
If I understood you, the Supreme Court decision said that Turk could review decisions handed by the county board. Is that
Yes.
what the decision said?
Yes.
And Turk does not want to be able to do that. Is that true?
No.
Then why do they want to reverse the decision that said they could do what they want to do?
Well, Senator Chambers.
You wish I hadn't come up here and started
No,
talking to you.
no, absolutely not. We knew this was going to happen sometime, and I'm as good a one to start on as anyone else.
You knew what was going to
One
happen.
minute.
You know that I can take it.
That somebody would start asking questions about a bill which is not clear. You knew that was going to happen at some point. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I didn't think that,
Okay.
but it has, so we might as well go after it.
All right. Well, maybe I will just listen to what some of the other people on the floor have to say, and perhaps they will improve my education, and I will be enlightened, and the questions will be answered. But I want to find out as they're talking, because some may want to help me, what about those decisions did Turk consider to be unjust, since the statement of intent says that Turk needs this bill in order to achieve just outcomes? I gather from that outcomes which had been upheld by the district court and the Supreme Court were unjust.
Time, Senator Chambers. Senator Whiteman, followed by Senator Jansen, Senator Flood. Senator Whiteman.
I just have some questions regarding the proposed bill of Senator Jansen, if he would yield.
Senator Jansen, will you yield?
Is the purpose of this
On LB 167. Senator Chambers.
Mr. President, I was out in the hall having this matter explained to me. So is this the vote to move the bill that Senator Jansen and I had been discussing?
That is correct, Senator. This will be to advance.
Thank you. In the district court case, the matter should not have been accepted by the district court pursuant to a petition in error. There was a statute that had been repealed. That matter should not have gone to the district court on the basis that the court accepted it. So this bill, and I'm simplifying it so I won't lose people, is going to make it clear to the courts that that is not how one of these matters would be handled. That first step will take it to Turk, and Turk will conduct a review. And if there's dissatisfaction, an appeal can then be taken to the court after the Turk review. Turk's review does not replace a court. It does not overturn a court decision. So that kind of matter will not be appealed to a district court pursuant to a petition in error prior to Turk reviewing it. That would be the district court issue. In the Supreme Court case, there is an attempt by this bill to broaden what Turk can look at when a matter comes before it. It is not going to be restricted to what people may have said or written when they were going before the county board in determining this valuation or this taxable value. Anything that a person wants to raise, regardless of what may or may not have occurred before the county board, can be brought up when the issue is presented to Turk. I think that is eminently fair. I think it is reasonable. And although there are some complex issues that can arise during hearings or reviews, the simple thing that this bill is doing is making it clear what is going to be heard when. What can be heard during one of those reviews. So in a sense, the bill will simplify and clarify, as Senator Jansen told us. I just was not swift enough to do like, what do they call those races where the horse jumps over fences and bushes and steeplechase? Now, I would be able to run in a straight line or run around an oval track. But when you start putting curlicues and dog legs and obstacles which somebody not familiar with the arcane workings of the Revenue Committee must surmount, then you lose me. I had a discussion with a former member of the legislature who is aware of my severe limitations, and he took those into consideration in explaining this matter to me. And the matter is not that complex once it's broken down to a level where somebody with my limited ability can understand it. So my suggestion would be that the Revenue Committee members deal with each other however they want to.
1 minute.
Use their jargon, their mumble-jumble, their abracadabra, or however anybody who doesn't understand would describe it. But when you deal with ordinary mortals who walk the earth in shoe leather and cannot walk on water, who cannot levitate simply by using their mind, simplify it and I will grasp it. But whenever I don't understand something, I'm going to ask questions until I do. So I will support this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
This whole process is moving way too fast for me right now. Now, I never thought I'd say that. When I first got here 4 years ago, I thought people would ask me, was it everything you thought that it would be? No, it moves a heck of a lot slower. So you have to try to communicate to people out in your districts what the only problem was with the legislature, not used to the speed of play. If somebody calls me at work in Omaha and says, I want this, I want it by close of business, most of the time you can produce. You can deliver most of the time, as long as there's some teamwork. Here, all bets are off. But here's the funny thing, and this is at the expense of Senator Mines. I didn't even bring it up to him, but I think he'll understand. People are walking up this morning and asking me, hey, have you read X bill? Have you read Y bill? Have you read Z bill? No, I haven't, and it's 11:15, and we've been through, 5 bills on general file now? That's a little disturbing to me. Then we move to the select file, and then where are we? Scrambling again? Sorry, Senator Mines.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the legislature, I want to ask Senator Mines why he does not object to an attorney serving as an attorney in more than one county.
Senator Mines, would you yield?
Senator Chambers, it's a statute presently, and I just didn't approach that. I'm sorry, I didn't look at it.
Why not?
Because I was looking at other high office holders and particularly looking at the Natural Resource District. However, I wouldn't object to it, to remove county attorneys from that language.
Okay. So if I would offer an amendment to do that, you would say it?
Absolutely.
With his said that, I'm going to sit back and listen to the remainder of the discussion. Thank you, Senator Mines. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Chambers. We have Senator Wallman, Senator Friend, Senator...
With Senator Friend in that I've felt the last couple of days that things are moving along at a pretty good clip and maybe a little faster than I'm comfortable with, and we've done a good job of slowing it down today.
Members of the legislature, I would like to ask my new colleague, Senator White, a question or two.
Senator White, would you yield?
I'd be pleased to.
Senator White, what is the difference between the existing county attorney system that exists in Nebraska where, at least theoretically, each of the 93 counties could have a county attorney, and what is the difference between that system and a district attorney system?
You mean as it exists in other states?
Yes.
It's a geographical limitation of power. The county attorney system limits the ability to prosecute cases to the actual boundaries of the county. A district system defines those as something other than the boundaries of the county. In this case, in our state, as you know, the Attorney General can step forward under circumstances to prosecute in lieu of a county attorney, either because of conflict or unwillingness or inability to serve.
But if there were a district attorney system, we probably would not have 93 individual prosecutors, would we? We might have 93 people working, but I meant as chief prosecutors.
Absolutely. And what the existing statute does is, as opposed to replacing the county attorney system, it just permits a more flexible approach that individual counties can hire one attorney with the skills sufficient to be a county prosecutor and to serve several or more counties. So it's an ad hoc remedy intended, I hope, to get the best quality of prosecutorial talent serving the people at the lowest possible cost.
And regardless of how it might rub people the right way or the wrong way, this statute is an acknowledgement that there are not capable people in the rural areas willing to serve as county attorney.
I would disagree with that, Senator.
Then what do we need this for?
I would indicate that there is not, thankfully, the level of crime necessary to support a single full-time prosecutor in these counties. So there are certainly attorneys who could develop those skills throughout the state. Now, they may not be living in that specific county, but I think the more salient point is that many of these counties will go a decade without a serious crime.
No, here's what I'm talking about. In each county, there are counties where there is no person qualified to serve as county attorney. Isn't that true?
There are counties where there are no attorneys.
So there'd be nobody there qualified to serve as county attorney if you have to be an attorney to hold that position. Isn't that true?
If you have to reside in that county.
That's what I said, in those counties. If you don't
you mean in residing it, but
yes,
there are attorneys, for example, in
You're taking too much
nearby.
of my time. Thank you, Senator White. Members of the legislature, I'm about to run out, and we can continue because I'm going to put my light on. But rather than adopt a system that is suitable for a state like Nebraska, which has densely populated areas and sparsely populated areas, you're going to take an existing system and, in effect, corrupt it. That's what's being done. If you want each county to have a county attorney, that's what you should do. But if you cannot find people in each county who want to hold that position, change the system to one which embraces the reality that you find in this state. And that would be a district attorney system. But rather than that, you nibble here, you nibble there. It's like somebody who every time
1 minute
he or she develops an itch, scratches it, then when you run out of enough arms to scratch, you grow a new arm and a new hand. Then you got 30 arms and 30 hands to scratch, when all you need to do is take that nasty carcass and throw it in a tub of hot soapy water and cleanse it and get rid of all the itches. So what Nebraska legislature has a tendency to do is build a new arm and a new hand for a new scratch. We need to change the system. And I want my new colleagues to understand that Senator Friend pointed out the necessity of somebody like me who will slow down this process, and you will see it done. But who raised the necessity of doing that? Senator Friend. Who expressed concern about how fast things are going? One of my new colleagues. Y'all keep that in mind when I begin to find the necessity to unfurl the Chambers method.
Time, Senator Chambers.